Welcome to PuntaCana in the sunny Dominican Republic at the Paradisus Resort. This was the 9th pit stop on a race around the world. Actually, no, it wasn't. I just wanted to say that. I kind of like the Amazing Race. We just finished the 3-day conference, spoke for 2 hours yesterday, which would have been Tuesday, the 10th of November. What a blast. Didn't we have a lot of fun? Wow, I had a blast. Let's start off. We kicked it off talking about psychology, right? Remember William James? One of the fathers of modern psychology. Some folks would call him that anyway. He was a Harvard University prof in the late 1800s and early 1900s. One of the things he said in his earliest text was, the greatest discovery we've made in my lifetime in the study of psychology is that human beings can change their external circumstances by changing what they think about. Or, we put it another way, what we think about changes the way we feel, right? Yeah, the way we feel changes the way we act. The way we act changes our outcome. The amazing thing is, if we can change what we're thinking about and what we're focusing on, we can ultimately change our results. Then we started talking about GPS device and goal setting. We started talking about relationships and adding value, overwhelming value to people. In 2010, the amazing thing about MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, all these social media sites and concepts, it's kind of a misnomer. It's not really social. In 2010, what we crave now more than ever is social contact. A bird in a hotel. It's fascinating. We crave social contact. When we don't get it, of course, we try to build these fake relationships on Facebook and MySpace. And then we go to these networking events. You know about this? We go to networking events to network. What do? We collect 500 business cards. We make zero meaningful connections with anybody. We go home, we tell ourselves, wow, I just made a lot of connections. Well, we didn't. We farmed a bunch of email addresses, which we could probably find online anyway. So the reality is, we get home with our pile of contacts and we spam them and they don't respond. We call them, they don't pick up our phone call. Why? They have call display and they realize that we're just trying to take something from them. So if we can practice net giving instead of networking, what ends up happening is we can add value to people to the point where when they see our phone number popping up on their screen, they answer our phone calls. Why? Because they know we're not trying to take something from them, we're trying to add value to their life, in their personal life or their business life. Great question to ask someone if they're in business or in sales. Hey, who's your ideal prospect? Who should I keep my eyes open for? Are you kidding me? That'll start a conversation. And when you call them up and say, hey, I've got a prospect for you, give me a shout back. Do you think they'll return your call? Absolutely. And you'll be the go-to person when they need other things. So that starts to build meaningful relationships. And of course, that's when we build trust. We don't build trust trying to tell someone, hi, I'm trustworthy. We build trust by delivering. So build rapport. Practice integrity. It's that easy. Of course, one of the other fascinating concepts is, most people don't do this, but under-promise and over-deliver. And in fact, when you say you're going to do something, do it. If you do just those two things, if you're doing more in business than a lot of people do. And that's how we get repeat and referral business. So we moved into the GPS device. Remember that? We talked about how it's a $500 gizmo, suction cup to the windshield, looks up at the sky at $1 billion worth of satellites. And the GPS device says, where am I? And the satellites say, you're currently here. I say, okay, great. Now, if we don't punch in an address into the GPS device, how helpful is this thing? It's completely useless. Same thing in business and in life. If we don't start each day setting goals, if we don't figure out exactly what we want to do, and we don't, let's say we set 2 non-negotiables, 2, that's it. Before we go to bed, we set 2 non-negotiables, 2 things we're going to accomplish before our head hits the pillow. Do you think if we accomplish those, we're going to feel good about ourselves? Sure we are, and this starts to build momentum. They don't have to be big things, 1 thing in your business life and 1 thing in your personal life that's going to move your business forward or your life forward. 2 of these per day. Now, most of us have these massive to-do lists, and we get all stressed out about everything we need to accomplish, so we don't really do anything. We tell ourselves, well, I'm really busy today, and then we pick up our dry cleaning or we try to accomplish a whole bunch of other things. We realize at the end of the day we were busy being busy, but we weren't that productive. So write down 2 non-negotiables that you will accomplish before your head hits the pillow. Amazing thing starts to happen, by the way. When we actually write down what we want to accomplish, our brain finds a way to make it into reality. See, until we put it on paper, until we commit it to paper, our mind thinks, oh, you're dreaming right now. Great, dreams are fantastic. When we commit it to paper, it becomes a goal. And they say a goal is a dream with a deadline. Of course, if we believe that we can achieve it, we're more likely to write it down. That's when we talked about Roger Bannister. Remember the 4-minute mile? We fast forward a little bit, we talked about personality profiles and understanding what's your personality profile and how can you deliver a presentation in such a way that other people receive it effectively. Well, we deliver in a way that their personality profile most resonates with it. We talked about persuasion, that book, 10% of the people get 90% of the pie. What a fascinating read. And we also talked about Michael Gerber's E-Myth. Do you remember that? We talked about how the body shop example, for instance, 10% of the population buys based on price, 90% of the population buys based on value. As long as we can show overwhelming value, price isn't a factor. But we need to probe first. We need to find out what are their needs. What do they want? Even if we know the answers, we still have to have those conversations. Then we fast forward a little bit further. We started talking about the concept of goal setting and having audacious goals. Remember we talked about Stefan Mocchio? His website, by the way, is Steph, S-T-E-P-H-A-N, Mocchio, M-O-C-C-I-O, StefanMocchio.com. You can see his latest CDs. He's an amazing, fascinating songwriter and amazing pianist. So he had the guts to aim high, and he had a little fire in his gut, didn't he? And he wouldn't let anybody talk him out of his goal. Whatever you do, if you're passionate about something, if you want to do something badly enough, don't let anybody talk you out of your goal. And whatever you do, don't talk yourself out of it. Instead, aim high. Find other people who have already done exactly what you want to do, and then go do it. People are going to tell you that can't be done. Why? Because they don't think they can accomplish it. And that's the fascinating thing about humanity is, well, if I don't think I can accomplish something, very often, I'll try to talk somebody else out of it. Because if they can't accomplish it, then I'll feel like I was right. We don't like being wrong. And we certainly don't like being uncomfortable. Fascinating thing is when we're uncomfortable, we're growing. The more times we get to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, the more we'll grow. The more we grow, the more accomplished we'll become. We can get a lot more done when we overcome the fear. So how do you overcome the fear? Well, you realize, well, it's possible to do anyway. We close it off with a story about the 30-year-old. Remember that? And how we intend to do something, and one day I'll do it, and we put it in that later box. One day, one day, one day. And then finally we get a little smack in the face or maybe a kick on the backside that makes us realize, wow, the one day is today. And it's true. The one day is today, right now. As soon as you finish watching this video, start on something that you've been putting off. See, it all starts with Henry Ford, my favorite quote of all time. He said, whether you think you can or you think you cannot, either way, you're right. It all starts up here. In any case, have a fantastic day. Thanks a lot for joining us in sunny PuntaCana in Dominican Republic. Keep in touch, chriscummins.com or chriscummins.com/Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Have a fantastic day and go get them. Take care.